LoreFi Chapter 1 is officially over and I just solved the entire timeline. So in this video, I'm going to explain every single code, concert, message, and everything in LoreFi having to do with the lore, and I'm going to tell the entire story of LoreFi. So relax and watch as I unfold the mysteries of LoreFi that only the most hardcore of LoreFi ducks could ever know. Hello theorists, welcome back to Investigative Game Speculation. LoreFi recently made their final video concluding Taylor's story, titled Gift. In this animation, Taylor supposedly either dies or gets kidnapped, and the text of the duck says, "You're next." But before we get into this animatic, we're gonna need to go all the way back to the beginning, nearly a year ago when this entire ARG started. So let's dive into the entire history of LoreFi. The story begins in the LoreFi Taylor story trailer, where we see a computer playing music and Taylor resting in her room. But what immediately caught my eye when I first saw this were the two tickets in the left-hand bottom corner of the screen. These two tickets had the words Remnant, and they had the date on them saying July 13th. The reason for Remnant being in the corner on Taylor's wallpaper is because Taylor was a big fan of this band. Yeah, that's right, it's a band. And Taylor oftentimes went to their concerts and wore shirts that had their name on it. Also, down below under the desk, we see a local newspaper in the trash about a local boy that went missing. My first guess of this newspaper is that Taylor had thrown it in the trash to forget about it and did not think about it as perhaps the boy was related to her, but now I'm not so sure about that. In the later part of the trailer, Taylor's computer is hacked so a camera turns on and someone is spying on her. Yeah, pretty creepy. This video in the ARG is the actual video for Taylor's story. In the beginning of the video, it features a scared 12-year-old boy's voice.
Hello, my name is Gregory Daniels. I'm 12 years old. I live at 3251 Spring Lake Drive. Been kidnapped.
The boy tells us he has been kidnapped and seems to be very frantic. As the video progresses, we learn Taylor is sick from the letter that was sent by a friend wishing Taylor well and also excitingly telling us about the new songs and drawings that were found. Man, I am really glad that LoreFi offers 4K mode. You can see everything in it up close and personal. And speaking of up close and personal, Taylor also had quite a rocky relationship with her dad, as we see a picture of the whole family, and the dad appears to be crossed out, meaning likely the two parents got in a divorce, and or Taylor's just simply mad at him for a different reason that we don't know about. We also see a picture of a monster behind the picture, and the monster appears to be opening the door. Perhaps this is a hallucination that Taylor has been seeing in her room, maybe sleep paralysis. We also see several pictures of her friends, and Taylor seems to be shocked by one of the pictures that her friend drew, which in the past I for some reason thought it was Springtrap and that Gregory was the dude that made the picture because in comparison they look kinda similar to FNAF, but I tell you, it is truly a coincidence, and this is its own ARG. It's also interesting how the amount of butterflies in the room we see, as on a paper we see of the text titled The Butterfly Effect, and also a butterfly pin on a pinboard. So basically, if you don't know, the butterfly effect is a series and chain of events. It is one small, simple occurrence that leads to abstract complexities that are incomprehensible. I believe that in this story, the butterfly effect applies to how everyone else got the virus, including her friends, just because she got the virus on her own computer. The timeline was also easy to solve, as we see several books made in the early 2000s, such as Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, and one of the CDs on the floor, Linkin Park, started their band just a little before 2000s, making it very well possible Taylor grew up with the band and liked it. At the end of the video, we learn that Gregory Daniels is being influenced and manipulated to do something wrong, which perhaps the duck virus is leading him to do. Taylor browses about her computer listening to music, but while she is gone, her computer gets infected once again. But at least this time, the hacker gave us some valuable information and lore. At least the virus scrolls through her emails and gives us all the information we want, just like we're a hacker as well. Maybe we're secretly the protagonist partnering with the hacker, and we are the evil one. Okay, yeah, probably not part of the lore. As the virus scrolls through emails, we learn that she was in an art contest and Drakenborg won it. We also find out later that Taylor won second place in the art contest, which, quite frankly, she wasn't too happy about. As the virus scrolls even more throughout the emails, we see an email from Dad titled, "I know what you did." That was likely Taylor telling her dad that she is aware of what happened. But the question is, what did her dad do? Well, I'm actually going to answer that question later, so make sure you pay close attention to everything I'm saying about the dad and all that kind of stuff. Taylor, I understand you're mad. You say you don't want me around, but please, there's a lot more to this than you think. I know your mother is upset, but that doesn't mean that she is completely innocent. There are reasons things ended up like they did. Can we please just talk? I don't feel like this whole emailing back and forth. I don't feel like I can say what I need to say through this. Just give me a chance, your father. This email is extremely important, and a little bit later, I'm going to tell you just why. Just for fun, I tried entering the email into an address, and to my surprise, the email was real. I tried messaging the email, but of course, I don't think it's real. Something interesting I found that was said, 550, no such user here. That was a little odd, so just for the experimentation, I looked at other emails I had gotten the mail delivery subsystem error for, and while the error codes were similar, they weren't quite as cryptic as "Behold, there's no such user here." Anyways, I doubt this actually has anything to do with the lore, so let's move on. In the video, we find out more about her context as we see her dad try to talk to her once again, but no response. We also learn she has friends named Kati Probable, Sevi Lou 4 Eva, and SSJ Kev 93. Very interesting names. We also learn that Kate Probable and Taylor are working on a project together, and her friend asks her to do the entire thing for her, and Taylor passively agrees. But something weird and kind of cryptic about Kate Probable is that he gives us this strange text. I am a survivor, I'm not going to give up, I'm not going to give up, I'm going to work up harder. This is definitely kind of strange. He could be implying he survived the virus, but it seems like some kind of strange captive hostage or involuntary worker to the virus. After that, we see a few more friends she has, and they appear to be doing art with her. After that, the virus hacks her computer again, and the video ends. Wow, that was a lot of lore in just one video. Imagine in the next video we get a little more information from Kati Probable. Yeah, that's the way to spell it now. I got it. I guess he referred to Dixon as in going to his school, a new school. Maybe he meant working harder when it came to art or school or something. But there are still some unanswered questions. In LoreFi, ignorance is bliss. Taylor is by her locker in the public school listening to music, and she gets very unsettled when she hears Gregory Daniels' voice as he tries to confess to doing something, and is begging to be let go. But then Taylor looks up to see something telling her to confess, and everything goes dark. I have a mini theory that this video might be connected to the gift animatic, as I think the gift might explain this video, which I will get into later. In the LoreFi 2024 Fall Collection, things get interesting. Things around the room transition, and the trash can. The trash can transitions. I love this little domain of lore that's all just going in the trash. In the trash can, we see a new newspaper telling us about the missing boy's backpack that has been found, and the paper gets hung on the wall in a later video showing the entire report, which I will get into later. We also see the paper of the monster peeking into the room is now gone, meaning possibly that it's active. I don't know how much that has to do with the story, but I noticed it was missing. But in the Winter 2024 edition, we see a new piece of paper of a creature sticking out of a drawer in the right corner, which is definitely strange. Once the LoreFi Winter 2024 edition rolled around, we got even more. The newspaper is now mostly revealed, telling us the missing boy's backpack was found by Millard Lake in Hanover Park. But one thing I found particularly interesting was how that they said that he was missing since last December. That makes this entire timeline kind of confusing since the video was during February, meaning this has been going on for 4 months, but the entire ARG started on June 13th. Unless the dates aren't always with the video. Another interesting thing is that Taylor seems to be slowing down on school, as we see her A+ assignment is for some reason in the trash, and then we get notes in her notebook saying that she is harder than she thinks, more capable than she thinks, meaning Taylor would likely have needed some kind of validation or something, but there would be no reason for that as she got an A+ assignment. This could possibly be about her getting second place on the art test, but again, second place is good. But Taylor wasn't all that happy about getting second place because she seems to be kind of the perfectionist. We also see several messages throughout LoreFi, such as the 3 live streams that have been going on, and several characters such as Wang of Disharmony, Sefi Louv, SSJ Kev, and a lot more. Wang of Disharmony and Sefi are very much enemies and seem to have a strong dislike and distrust for each other. They both think one or the other started the virus, but they don't know who made the infected song. We also see the virus has been trying to trick Taylor into thinking her friend Kati Probable didn't get her section from the project from Taylor yet, from a message, but he clearly did, as he confirms it earlier. After a while, LoreFi starts switching to animatics, and the first one we get is titled Window. In this animatic, Taylor is in her room when someone is watching. First, she imagines someone knocking on the door, or it could be real, and then we see a shadow outside the window. That means maybe Wang and Disharmony possibly has been coming to her house and watching her, as it would make sense since Wang would probably want to meet with Taylor in real life, and maybe they would talk as Wang really does not like Sefi. Or maybe there's something going on with Wang that is suspicious that we don't know about yet. That would later be explained by the following animatic titled Escape. First, we see Taylor's pet hamster trying to escape the cage, and while he is at first successful, he does not last for long. I think, judging by the way the hamster is acting, it's possible that the virus is actually taking over the hamster and secretly watching. In a certain frame of the video, we see the text liars. I think it's probably having to do with all the kids who are texting and how people are going missing with the virus. The only people I think could have written that on the wall would be either Wing of Disharmony or Taylor. At the end of the video, Taylor, Steffi, and Wing all get too exhausted and feel this is just too big, so they decide maybe they should meet in person. After the escape animatic comes two new videos that you would think don't have much lore, but in reality, one of them does actually have kind of a metaphorical piece to the story. The video titled "Lo-Fi Chill Music to Escape Reality" has a code in the description, and it was using the base 64, which is the code we get this text. "She cannot escape me. I believe the visuals we see in this video, an unidentified person walking up the stairs, is supposed to be metaphorically symbolic, meaning that the person is running and walking and trying to escape, but they just can't. And it is, of course, most likely the virus who wrote this text." The break from animatics will not last long, as just after that we got one of the most intriguing animatics titled Hideout. And this tells us quite a bit about Wing, or the man who we think we are seeing. Most people would probably assume the guy who is hacking our computer and doing all of this is Wing of Disharmony. Perhaps he was actually the one who brought the virus, but maybe the way that the video is titled Hideout is supposed to mean it's a place where the duck virus takes people and controls them, takes possession of them. It didn't originally seem like Wing was the person behind the virus, so maybe he's infected. In the description, we get yet another code. "I will not be stopped by some insignificant insects." Perhaps that is Wing speaking, and maybe he's infected by the virus. Or maybe he's gonna be a villain in a different way. The next video, titled "Lo-Fi Music for Your Coffee Break," has yet another code. First we get this gibberish, and then using the classic Visionary cipher, I got this text, which, simplifying it, seemed to say, "There's the it," which really does not make a lot of sense. It's a very vague text. And unlike most of the code, I am not actually quite sure what to make of this code. However, another person came along saying the cipher of the description actually means "I'm closing in." When I used a mono-alphabetic substitution cipher on this, however, it said something very close. "Eyes staring in." However, using the Caesar cipher and shifting it by 12, we actually do get "I'm closing in." It would make sense that using the substitution and Caesar cipher would get something similar to decrypted text, as these two ciphers are actually quite similar. And I just solved the reason that this text is here. On the Lost animatic, we see on the calendar that they were supposed to meet up at the cafe. So the text I'm seeing that it says "I'm closing in" means on this video of the coffee break that they were meeting in on the coffee shop. And it's confirmed that this event took place on June 11th. Pay close attention to this because it's extremely important for the end of the video. Foreshadowing. In the Rainy Days LoreFi video, we see yet another base 64 code that reads, "Someday I'll take her here." Kinda a creepy message. I think the scenery is Mullard Lake, and I think the man standing there with the umbrella is none other than Wing, and I will tell you more about Wing just a little bit later. On the community post, LoreFi had announced that they were making a buddy cop series with Cheeks as the hamster. Well, they released their first animatic, and it actually contributes to the lore of LoreFi. We have further evidence that Taylor has done something wrong after we see the text from the duck. Announcement: we are at the end of the final video. I'm about to tell the huge theory. The final LoreFi animatic titled "Gift," Taylor takes a walk outside, digging through the trash, only to look at the road and find a duck that has cryptic text on it, "You're next." She then gets kidnapped and screams, and her mom comes to her room, only to find her daughter missing. Well, as unbelievable as it sounds, I think Wing of Disharmony is Taylor's dad and the one who kidnapped Taylor, and I think Taylor suffered the same fate as Gregory Daniels. And where is Taylor going? Well, Taylor's kidnapper is going to take her to the lake we see in the Rainy Day video, and I believe that is Mullard Lake. I know it's a lot to take in, but let's compare what we think is Wing and Taylor's dad. They are both in hood and cloaks. So I think that Wing disguised himself to go meet with Taylor at the cafe at the time because Taylor's dad originally wanted to meet Taylor and then later kidnapped her. The other thing that is interesting is that the Gift animatic is on the same day as the Remnant concert, June 22, 2003. That means that her kidnapping likely had to do with something with Remnant, and Remnant is not who they appear to be. I think perhaps the duck virus kidnapped those who commit sins or do wrong. But what did Taylor do? There is still definitely not known for sure, as much as I hate to say it. Could Taylor be Gregory Daniels? Well, that actually wouldn't really make a lot of sense. I think rather than being the same person, they simply suffered the same fate, and if they were the same person, all the news about them would have to be coming from the past. Maybe they are like ghosts possessed by the same people. The creators of LoreFi just love referencing FNAF. And there you have it. That is the full story of Taylor from LoreFi. Hopefully there will be another chapter 2 for me to solve even more complex codes, lore, and puzzles. I will always be looking out for that. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching this full timeline LoreFi theory, and subscribe and like if you want more of this kind of content, and I'll see you next time.